number 1, what does Mercutio say about blind love?
Hold on, I don't have to pull it up.
He said love that is blind cannot hit the mark.
Yeah, love that is blind cannot hit the mark. Alright, number 2. When Juliet appears on the balcony, what does Romeo compare her to, Riley?
The sun.
The sun. He says, it is the east and Juliet is the sun.
Do we have to write down the line?
Love cannot hit the mark. Yes, I would write down the lines, or as much as you can. That's why I'm trying to get my book out. Alright, number 3. How does Juliet speak but say nothing at all? Somebody besides Riley.
Something about her eyes.
Part about her eyes. Like, how can you speak but not say anything?
She uses her body
Body
language. and her
Body language. You can tell sometimes if somebody's mad just by the way they look,
Or
right?
like,
Or if they're really happy, you can just tell by the way they look. They don't have to say words for you to know. So it's her body language. He says she speaks but says nothing. Alright. Number 4. When Juliet leans her hand on her cheek, what does Romeo say? Emma. Yeah, she's laying her hand and he says, oh, that I could just be a glove on that hand so he could touch her cheek.
that's cheating,
Alright, number 5. Unaware of his presence, because remember to start with, Juliet doesn't know that Romeo is there. So unaware that he's there, what does Juliet say? What does Juliet ask Romeo to say?
Swear his love? Is that?
Well,
No, it's not that.
alright, so line 33 is where we're starting. And it says, O Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? If you look at the footnote, why are you Romeo? So why are you a Montague? And then she said, deny thy father and refuse thy name, or if thou wilt not be, but sworn my love, and I will no longer be a Capulet. So she's basically asking him to deny being a Montague so they can be together. And if he won't do that, then she just won't be a Capulet anymore.
What do they call that?
It's just old English.
Did people actually talk like that?
Well,
They
I really
did.
couldn't understand them when he was saying all that.
Alright, so that leads
Does thy mean you?
thy,
Or,
yes. Deny thy father, like deny your father, refuse your name, yes. Alright, so that kind of leads Juliet into this whole spiel about names. Alright, so what does she say about names? This is like starting on line 40. Marcus.
I mean, I don't have the exact words, but pretty much she's saying names don't really matter.
Yes. Basically, names don't really matter. She said if you had a rose and you called it something else, if you called it a shoe, but it's still a rose, it's still going to look the same and smell the same. That it really has nothing to do with its name. So she's saying it doesn't really matter if he's a Montague and she's a Capulet. That doesn't make them who they are. That's just their name. Alright, number 7. Juliet asked Romeo how he got into her place. She said the orchard walls are high and his life would be in danger if her relatives were to find him there. What is Romeo's response to these questions? Emma?
He was able to get over the wall with love's lightnings.
Yes, like love brought him there. Fate brought him there. Because we talked about it, he just happened upon Juliet's balcony. And that he wasn't afraid of her kinsman. That it was fine. It was worth the risk to get to see her again. Why is is she embarrassed? Number 8. Why is Juliet so embarrassed? Tamaya.
Is it because she was talking about him and she didn't know that he was with him?
Yes, like she was kind of bearing her soul about how she felt about Romeo and had no clue he was there. She's talking about how much she loved him and how she wished he wasn't a Montague. And then there he is. He heard the whole thing. So that embarrassed her. All right, number 9. Juliet is going to send someone to find Romeo the next day for what purpose? Riley.
I don't know if this is the wrong one or not, but is it the same when they're gonna get married?
Yes. They have now agreed that they are going to get married. And so Romeo is supposed to go make the plans for them to get married. And Juliet is supposed to send somebody to find out the plans for their marriage. Alright, so now we're going to start with scene 3, which in your book is on page, let's see, it's 731 in the book, and it's 801 in the PDF. So if you want to just get a book out of your desk, it's 731. If you want to look at the PDF, that's not the right book, Marcus. Look in that one right here. It's 801. Yours is the bottom one. 731 in the book, 801 in the PDF. We're going to start with scene 3. Now, Romeo goes to Friar Lawrence's cell. Friar is like a preacher. And then his cell is like his house or his apartment, the room where he lives. So he's going basically to the preacher's house to talk to him about marrying Juliet. Now remember, who knows about Romeo and Juliet at this point?
The nurse and Romeo and
The
Juliet.
nurse doesn't know yet. Just Romeo and Juliet. No one else knows. As far as anyone else is concerned that knows Romeo, he's still in love with Rosalind. So they don't know anything about Juliet. All right, 731 in the book, 801 in the textbook.
Streaks of light, and flecked darkness like a drunkard reels from forth day's path, and tightens fiery wheels. Now where the sun advances burning high, the day to cheer, and night's dank dew to dry, I must not fill this osier cage of ours with baleful weeds and precious juiced flowers. The earth, that's nature's mother, is her tomb. What is her burying grave? That is her womb, and from her womb children of divers kind we, sucking on her natural bosom, find. Many, for many virtues excellent, none but for some, and yet all different. Oh, mickle is the powerful grace that lies in plants, herbs, stones, and their true qualities. For not so vile that on the earth doth live, but to the earth some special good doth give. Nor aught so good, but strained from that fair use, revolts from true birth, stumbling on abuse. Virtue itself turns vice being misapplied, and vice sometimes by action dignified. Within
Alright, so what is Friar Lawrence gathering in his basket? Herbs, flowers, plants. He's kind of out in his little garden gathering up different things. Alright, now lines 21 and 22, he's just said, virtue itself turns vice, being misapplied, and vice sometimes by action dignified. What do y'all think he means by that? First of all, what is virtue? Something good or something bad? Good. Okay? So let's think something good turns vice. What is vice? Bad. Being misapplied. When you misapply something, what do?
Don't apply it right.
You don't apply it right. So you use it for the wrong thing. So you've got good when it's used for wrong, when it's misapplied, and then it can be good if it's used for right. That's kind of what he's saying there. So let's think about some things in life that can be used for good, but can also be used for bad.
Guns.
Okay, how can a gun be used for good?
Food.
Okay, so if you're hunting and you're hunting for food, all right? Obviously, we know how it can be used for bad. It can be used in the wrong way, just to murder someone, shoot someone, hurt them in some way, for nothing else. All right, Marcus?
Drugs.
Okay, like give me a specific one.
Weed. Okay. Xanax.
Hold on. Painkillers is what she said first. Okay, so
Adderall.
let's just use an example here. When Brooks had surgery in Los Angeles, he was on some pretty heavy painkillers to start with, like while we were still in California. Those same things he was on could be sold on the street just for people to use for a high.
Trust me, I know.
All right, so he used that to control his pain after surgery, but it can also be used for bad, just for people to get high with and things like that. All right, so someone said weed. You? Okay, so how can weed be used for good?
Oh, no, I just heard you.
It
Could be organ.
Cancer.
Okay, there's medicinal marijuana, so you use it as medicine. When people are going through chemo with cancer and they get very nauseous, then marijuana can be used to help them not be as nauseous. Now, you have to live in a state where it's okay to use marijuana if you have a medical need for it. Like it's
Alabama.
no. But in some states it's legal. You get a prescription from your doctor. You go to like a pharmacy and you get it. You don't buy it like on the street corner in a bag, okay? You buy it like the proper way, just like the way we got Brooks's pain meds was through the pharmacy and the prescription. We didn't buy it illegally, okay? So there's one. Somebody had another one?
I know. Oh, Adderall.
Adderall. Okay, what's Adderall used for in a good way?
Helps people that have struggles focusing.
Yes. Adderall's used for ADD. It helps people who have, it's prescribed by a doctor to help you focus better. And then I know it's sold on the street as,
A study drug or
Drugs.
yes, like a speed type drug, I think. Alright, so those are all good examples. So you understand when Fryer says that some things can be used for good and can also be used for bad. They can be misapplied and used for bad. That's kind of like what he's talking about there. Alright, let's continue on.
Within the infant rind of this weak flower, poison hath residence and medicine power, for this being smelt, with that part cheers each part. Being tasted, slays all senses with the heart. Two such opposed kings encamp them still in man as well as herbs, grace and rude will. And where the worser is predominant, full soon the canker death eats up that plant.
Good morrow, Father.
Benedicite, what early tongue so sweet saluteth me? Young son, it argues a distempered head so soon to bid good morrow to thy bed. Care keeps his watch at every old man's eye, and where care lodges, sleep will never lie. But where unbruised youth with unstuffed brain doth couch his limbs, there golden sleep doth reign. Therefore thy earliness doth me assure thou art uproused with some distemperature. Or if not so, then here I hit it right. Our Romeo hath not been in bed tonight.
That last is true. The sweeter rest was mine.
God pardon sin. Wast thou with Rosaline?
With Rosaline, my ghostly father? No. I forgot that name, and that name's Woe.
That's my good son. But where hast thou been then?
I'll tell thee ere thou ask it me again. I have been feasting with mine enemy, where on a sudden one hath wounded me, that's by me wounded. Both our remedies within thy help and holy physic lies. I bear no hatred, blessed man, for lo, my intercession likewise steads my foe.
Be plain, good son, and homely in thy dress. Riddling confession finds but riddling shrift.
Then plainly know, my heart's dear love is set on the fair daughter of rich Capulet. As mine on hers, so hers is set on mine, and all combined, save what thou must combine by holy marriage. When and where and how we met, we wooed and made exchange of vow. I'll tell thee as we pass, but this I pray, that thou consent to marry us today.
Holy Saint Francis, what a change is here! Is Rosaline, that thou didst love so dear, so soon forsaken? Young men's love then lies not truly in their hearts, but in their eyes. Jesus Maria, what a deal of brine hath washed thy sallow cheeks for Rosaline! How much salt water thrown away in waste to season love that of it doth not taste! The sun not yet thy sighs from heaven clears, thy old groans ring yet in mine ancient ears. Lo, here upon thy cheek the stain doth sit of an old tear that is not washed off yet. If e'er thou wast thyself and these woes thine, thou and these woes were all for Rosaline, and art thou changed? Pronounce this sentence then. Women may fall when there's no strength in men.
Thou chid'st me oft for loving Rosaline,
For doting, not for loving, pupil mine.
and bad'st me bury love.
Not in a grave to lay one in, another out to have.
I pray thee chide not. She whom I love now doth grace for grace and love for love allow. The other did not so.
Oh, she knew well thy love did read by rote that could not spell. But come, young waverer, come, go with me. In one respect, I'll thy assistant be, for this alliance may so happy prove to turn your household's rancor to pure love.
Oh, let us hence. I stand on sudden haste.
Wisely and slow, they stumble that run fast.
Okay, so, number 12. When Friar Lawrence sees Romeo, what comment does he make about seeing him there so early in the morning?
He said something must be wrong because Romeo is up early.
Okay, what else? What is he assuming?
Yeah, he wasn't in bed last night.
That he didn't go to bed last night. He's been up all night. And who does he think he's been with?
Rosalind.
Rosalind. So then Romeo explains to him, like, no, Friar, I have forgotten all about Rosalind now, and I am in love with Juliet. So, number 13, Friar Lawrence says, young men's love then lies not truly in their hearts, but in their eyes. What does he mean by that?
He's saying,
Yeah, that if he fell that quickly in love, it must be that he only cares about the way she looks, not about, her character and her personality and what's in her heart. But he does agree to marry them. So number 14 says, why does he agree? What made Friar Lawrence agree to marry Romeo and Juliet?
That maybe it would turn the household around and they would stop fighting.
Yes. Maybe it will bring peace to the Capulets and the Montagues. If their two children are married, maybe they won't have a choice but to put this hatred aside and to, make amends and get along now. Alright, in this scene, we're going to really get a taste of Mercutio's personality. How silly and playful, and he cuts up all the time, and he's joking. So kind of try to pick up on some of his jokes and stuff here.
Where the devil should this Romeo be? Came he not home last night?
Not to his father's. I spoke with his man.
Oh, why, that same pale, hard-hearted wench, that Rosaline, torments him so that he will sure run mad.
Tybalt, a kinsman to old Capulet, hath
to send a letter to his father's house.
A challenge on my life.
Romeo will answer it.
Any man that can write may answer a letter.
Nay, he will answer the letter's master. How he dares being dared.
Alas, poor Romeo, he's already dead. Stabbed with a white wench's black eye. Shot through the ear with a love song. The very pin of his heart cleft with the blind bowboy's butt shaft. And is he a man to encounter Tybalt?
Why, what is Tybalt?
More than Prince of Cats, I can tell you. Oh, he's the courageous captain of compliments. He fights as you sing prick song. He keeps time, distance, and proportion. Rests me his minim rest. 1, 2, and the third in your bosom. The very butcher of a silk button. A duelist, a duelist. A gentleman of the very first house. Of the first and second cause. Ah, the immortal passado. The punto reverso. The hey-ya.
But what?
The pox of such antic lisping, affecting fantasticos, these tuner of accent. By Jesu, a very good blade, a very tall man, a very good whore. Why, is not this a lamentable thing, Grancer, that we should be thus afflicted with these strange flies, these fashion mongers, these pardon-moi, who stand so much on the new form that they cannot sit at ease on the old bench. Oh, the bones, the bones.
Here comes Romeo. Here comes Romeo.
Without his roux, like a dried herring.
Good morrow to you both.
Oh, flesh, flesh, how art thou fishified? Now is he for the numbers the Petrarch floated. Laura to his lady was but a kitchen wench. Mary, she had a better love to berhyme her. Dido, a dowdy. Cleopatra, a gypsy. Helen and Hero, Hildings and harlots. Thisbe a grey or so, but not to the purpose. Samuel, Romeo, bonjour. There's a French salutation to your French slop. You gave us the counterfeit fairly last night.
What counterfeit did I give you?
The slip, sir, the slip. Can you not conceive?
Pardon, good Mercutio, my business was great, and in such a case as mine, a man may strain courtesy.
That's as much as to say such a case as yours constrains a man to bow in the ham.
Meaning to curtsy?
Thou hast most kindly hit it.
A most courteous exposition.
Nay, I'm the very pink of courtesy.
Pink for flower?
Right?
Why, then, is my pump well flowered? There, upon my foot, sir.
Well said. Follow me this jest now till thou hast worn out thy pomp, that, when the single soul of it is worn, the jest may remain after the wearing solely singular.
Oh, single soul, jest solely singular for the singleness.
Come between us, good Benvolio, my wits faint.
Swits and spurs, or I'll cry a match.
Nay, if our wits run the wild goose chase, I am done. For thou hast more of the wild goose in one of thy wits than I am sure I have in my whole 5. Was I with you there for the goose?
Thou was never with me for anything when thou was not there for the goose.
I will bite thee by the ear for that jest.
Good goose. Ow! What not?
My wit is a very bitter sweeting. It is a most sharp sauce.
And is it not, then, well served into a sweet goose?
Oh, here's a wit of Cheverel that stretches from an inch narrow to an L broad.
I stretch it out for that word broad, which, added to the goose, proves thee far and wide a broad goose.
Why is not this better now than groaning for love? Now art thou sociable, now art thou Romeo, now art thou what thou art, by art as well as by nature. For this shriveling love is like a great natural that runs lolling up and down to hide his bauble in the hole.
Stop there.
Oh, thou desirest me to stop in my tail against the hair.
Thou would else have made thy tail large.
Oh, thou art deceived. I would have made it short, for I was come to the whole depth of my tail, and meant indeed to occupy the argument no longer.
Here's goodly gear.
A sail, a sail.
Two, a shirt and a smock.
Peter!
Anon.
My fan, Peter!
Good Peter to hide her face, for her fan's the fairer face of the two.
Thank you, Peter. God ye good morrow, gentlemen.
God ye good day, fair gentlewoman.
Is Is it good day?
'Tis no less, I tell ye, for the body hand of the dial is now upon the prick of noon.
Trepanier! What a man are you?
One gentlewoman that God hath made for himself to mar.
By my troth, it's well said for himself to mar, quoth he. Gentlemen, can any of you tell me where I may find the young Romeo?
I can tell you, but young Romeo will be older when you have found him than he was when you sought him. I am the youngest of that name, for fault of the worse.
You say well.
Yea, is the worst? Well, very well took, faith. Wisely, wisely.
If you be he, sir, I desire some confidence with you.
She will indict him to some supper.
Aboard, so.
Oh, what hast thou found, Mercutio?
No hair, sir, unless a hare, sir, in a Lenten pie that is something stale and whore ere it be spent. Oh, an old hare whore and an old hare whore is very good meat in Lent, but a hare that is whore is too much for a score when it whores ere it be spent. Romeo, will you come to your father's? We'll to dinner thither.
I will follow you.
Farewell, ancient lady. Farewell, lady. Come, Benvolio.
Mary, farewell! I pray you, sir, what saucy merchant was this? It was so...
Okay. So, for scene 4, we got, according to Mercutio, what kind of man is Tybalt? Okay, he called him the brave Mercutio. What else does he say about him? Like line 20, 21, 22, all through there he said, he is the courageous captain of compliments. If you look at the footnote, it tells us formal rules of dueling. What's a duel? D-U-E-L. What? Fighting how? Yeah. And there's rules that go with it. You know, there's certain rules you follow and all that. And he's saying he knows all the rules of dueling. He fights you as you sing a prick song. He keeps time, distance, and proportion. He rests his minimum rest, 1, 2, and a third in your bosom. The very butcher of a silk button. A duelist. A gentleman of the very first house and of the second and first and second cause, and the immortal passado, the punto reverso, the hoi. So if you look over here, it tells us he's a sword thrust, a backhanded thrust, and a fencing term signaling a hit. So basically with all that, what is he telling us? He's a good dueler. So in other terms here, he's a good fighter. So he's basically complimenting him on how well of a dueler, fighter, because they're going to sword fight when they fight, that he is. Alright, so line 16 number 16 we haven't gotten to yet. We've just gotten to where the nurse is there with Romeo to talk. So let's see what Romeo's come up with and what the nurse has to say.
So full of this ropery.
A gentleman nurse that loves to hear himself talk, and will speak more in a minute than he will stand to in a month.
And he speak anything against me, I'll take him down. And he were lustier than he is, and 20 such jacks. And if I cannot, I'll find those that shall. Scurvy knave, I'm none of his flirt jills. I'm none of his skeins maids. And thou, Peter, must stand by too and suffer every knave to use me at his pleasure.
I saw no man use you at his pleasure. If I had my weaponship quickly had been out, I warrant you. I dare draw as soon as another man if I see occasion in a good quarrel. And the law is on my side.
No, fore God, I'm so vexed that every part of me quivers. Scurvy knave, Peter! Ow! Oh. Pray you, sir, a word. And as I told you, my young lady bid me inquire you out. What she bid me say, I will keep to myself. But first, let me tell ye, if ye should lead her into a fool's paradise, as they say, it were very gross kind of behavior, as they say. For the gentlewoman is young, and therefore if you should deal double with her, truly it were an ill thing to be offered to any gentlewoman, and very weak dealing.
Nurse, commend me to thy lady and mistress. I protest unto thee.
Good and if faith, I will tell her as much. Lord, Lord, she'll be a joyful woman.
Wait, what wilt thou tell her, nurse? Thou dost not mark me.
I will tell her, sir, that you do protest, which, as I take it, is a gentlemanlike offer.
Nay, bid her devise some means to come to Shrift this afternoon, and there she shall, at Friar Lawrence's cell, be shrived and married. Here is for thy pains.
No, truly, sir, not a penny.
Go to, I say you shall.
Oh, well, this afternoon, sir. Well, she shall be there.
And stay, good nurse, behind the abbey wall. Within this hour my man shall be with thee, and bring thee cords made like a tackled stair, which to the high topgallant of my joy must be my convoy in the secret night. Farewell. Be trusty, and I'll quit thy pains. Farewell. Commend me to thy mistress.
Now God in heaven bless thee. Hark you, sir.
What sayest thou, my dear nurse?
Is your man secret? Did you ne'er hear say two may keep counsel, putting one away?
I warrant thee, my man's as true as steel.
Well, sir, my mistress is the sweetest lady. Lord, Lord, when 'twas a little prating thing. Oh, there is a nobleman in town, one Paris, that would fain lay knife aboard, but she, good soul, had as lief see a toad, a very toad, as see him. I anger her sometimes. I tell her that Paris is the properer man, but I'll warrant you, when I say so, she looks as pale as any cloud in the universal world. Doth not Rosemary and Romeo begin both with a letter?
Aye, nurse, what of that? Both with an R.
Ah, mocker, that's the dog's name. R is for the... No, I know it begins with some other letter. And she hath the prettiest sententious of it, of you and Rosemary, that it would do you good to hear it.
Commend me to thy lady. Farewell.
Aye, 1,000 times. Peter!
Anon,
Peter, take my fan and go before.
anon,
And a pace.
anon.
Okay, so, what does the nurse kind of warn Romeo about? And it's really lines like 150 down to about 157. What's she kind of warning? Well, she does tell him that, but it's before that. She said, if you should lead her in a fool's paradise, it were a very gross kind of behavior, as I say, for the gentle woman is young, and therefore if you should deal double with her, truly it were an ill thing to be, offered to any gentle woman and a weak dealing. What do you think she's saying?
Play around with her.
Like, you better be serious about this. You better not be messing with her. You better not be just like leading her on and you don't mean any of this. You better be honest with her, because if not, you're going to have like me to deal with. So how is Juliet supposed to meet Romeo? Like, what is she supposed to tell her parents she's doing? Well, on 165. Where is she supposed to tell him she's going? It's in line 165. Friar Lawrence's cell for what? Confession. Okay, so they're Catholic. So she needs to get permission from her parents to go to confession. And when she comes to confession, she's going to go to Friar Lawrence's cell. And that's where they're going to be married. It wouldn't be out of the ordinary to go to confession. It's a pretty ordinary thing for them to do. And so for her to ask her parents, is it okay if I go to confession? Wouldn't set off any alarms or anything like that. It would be a normal thing that she might do. scene 5 then. Alright, scene 5.
The clock struck 9 when I did send the nurse. In half an hour she promised to return. Perchance she cannot meet him. That's not so. Oh, she is lame. Love's heralds should be thoughts, which 10 times faster glide in the sun's beams, driving back shadows over lowering hills. Therefore do nimble-pinioned doves draw love, and therefore hath the wind-swift Cupid wings. Now is the sun upon the highmost hill of this day's journey, and from 9 till 12 is 3 long hours, yet she is not come. Had she affections and warm youthful blood, she would be as swift in motion as a ball. My words would bandy her to my sweet love, and his to me. But old folks, many feign as they were dead, unwieldy, slow, heavy, and pale as lead. Oh God, she comes. Oh, honey nurse, what news? Hast thou met with him? Send thy man away.
Peter, stay at the gate.
No.
Now, good sweet nurse. Oh Lord, why look'st thou sad? Though news be sad, yet tell them merrily. If good, thou shamest the music of sweet news by playing it to me with so sour a face.
I am a-weary. Give me leave a while. Fie, how my bones ache.
Oh, sit, nurse.
What a chance have I had?
I would thou hadst my bones and I thy news. Nay, come, I pray thee, speak. Good nurse, speak.
Jesu, what haste! Can you not stay a while? Do you not see that I am out of breath?
How art thou out of breath when thou hast breath to say to me that thou art out of breath?
Ugh.
The excuse that thou dost make in this delay is longer than the tale thou dost excuse. Is thy news good or bad? Answer to that. Say either and I'll state the circumstance. Let me be satisfied. Is it good or bad?
Well, you've made a simple choice. You know not how to choose a man. Romeo? No, not he. Though his face be better than any man's, yet his leg excels all men's. And for a hand and a foot and a body, though they be not to be talked on, yet they're past compare. He's not the flower of courtesy, but I'll warrant him as gentle as a lamb. Go thy ways, wench. Serve God. What, have you dined at home?
No, but all this did I know before. What says he of our marriage? What of that?
Lord, how my head aches. What a head have I? It beats as it would fall in 20 pieces. Oh, my back.
Here, nurse.
Oh, the other side. Ah, my back. Beshrew your heart for sending me about to catch my death with jouncing up and down.
Faith, I am sorry that thou art not well. Sweet nurse, tell me, what says my love?
Your love says, like an honest gentleman, and a courteous, and a kind, and a handsome, and I warrant a virtuous. Where is your mother?
Where is my mother? Why, she is within. Where should she be? How oddly thou repliest. Your love says, like an honest gentleman, where is your mother?
Oh, God's lady dear, are you so hot? Mary, come up, I trow. Is this the poultice for my aching bones? Henceforth, do your messages yourself.
Here's such a coil. Come, what says Romeo?
Have you got leave to go to shrift today?
I have.
Then hie you hence to Friar Lawrence's cell. There stays a